I've had the Qumox about 6 weeks now, so I thought I'd do a quick review and tell you the good points and the, well, not so good. Briefly show you what it comes with. The camera itself comes in the waterproof housing. And you get quite a few things with it. There's that, I can't remember what that is. There's the data cable and some 3M sticky pads, and there's a lens cap. There's also this complete bundle, lens cloth, various fittings to go on a helmet and bike and things like that. And there's also the other back for the waterproof housing. One has holes to let sound in, the other doesn't. And that's the manual. Right, a few shots taken with it. This one has sound.
It's like a grazing animal.
As you can hear, it gets lots of wind noise. This is without sound. It handles into the light quite well there. And I've played around with the time lapse. This is a 1 second. It also does 2, 5, 10, 30 and 60 second intervals, and it all seems to work pretty well. Also tried some underwater with the underwater housing. That seems to work okay. Actually underwater the sound isn't too bad, despite not having any holes for the sound to get in. It handles low light quite well, and artificial light too. And this was going to be one of the bad bits, but I was only getting about 45 minutes battery life from it, but I've recently switched off the dual streaming, so it only records one stream, and it works much better now. I did this test where I actually got 1 hour 36 minutes. For some reason it broke it down into 4 20-minute videos and then a 60-minute video there. I carried out a series of 3 tests. This first one in 1080p 30 mode, so that's full HD with 30 frames per second, and the picture quality is very good, as normal really. This next one I did again in full HD, but at 60 frames per second, and you can't really tell the difference, quite frankly. If there was plenty of action here and you wanted to slow it down, then I think that would work okay. And this last one was done at 720 HD at 120 frames per second, and as you can see the picture quality really isn't that good, and actually the raw file, it was jerking when I was playing it. I guess the camera was having difficulty writing 120 frames per second to the card. This is the manual, which is, like most manuals these days, absolutely useless really. It's got about 2 pages of instructions, and then it goes on to another language. It really could do with a better manual explaining the menus. I have tried to update the firmware, but that just isn't working for me. You have to put the new file onto the root of the SD card, and then you're supposed to go through to the end of the menus to the firmware version and press the OK button on the top. Well, when I do that, it just buzzes and doesn't actually do anything. It should ask you whether you want to update or not. That's the first of the major problems. This is an annoying problem. The file numbering, which it does automatically, starts SJCM0001 and goes on from there. The only problem is, every time you clear the memory out of the SD card or use a new memory, it starts again. So it's so easy just to overwrite files on your computer that are already there, if you forget to change the names first. This is another problem I found. I'm in Europe, so I want it on the PAL TV mode. So I moved down the menus, change from NTSC to PAL, all fine. Then go back up the menus to where you select the resolutions and the frame rate, and there it is fine, 1080 25 frames per second. And I can go into that menu and change it to 50 or 100 or whatever is appropriate. Go back to the main screen and it's showing it's 1080 but it's 30 frames per second. And if I switch off and then switch back on again, still showing 30 frames per second. And if I go into the menus again, you see the first one has gone back to the original, giving me 30 frames and 60 frames rather than 25 and 50. Yet if I go back down the menus to the TV mode, that's still set to PAL. So that's definitely a problem. This is a relatively minor problem really, but the battery compartment at the bottom, the catch is very fiddly to open, and once it does open, it'll be very easy to actually lose the battery cover, particularly if you're outside doing it. This is where one of the major problems I've found came to light. You'll see in a minute when it stops, the highlights get really blown out and they get shaded. It's the sort of thing you'd expect to see on the back of a DSLR camera telling you that they're blown out, but you shouldn't actually see it. Just carry on with this. I mean, it does get better. It handles the dark quite well. But here's another example of the highlights blowing out in the clouds. As you can see, again there's shading where it should just be white. I think I may have discovered perhaps what it is. This is part of the video I shot which to see how long the batteries would last, and this is about 1 hour 30 minutes in, and you can see the windows there, it's white and blown out as you'd expect it to be, and then all of a sudden in a moment it suddenly goes with the shading again, and it's like that for the rest of the file for the last 6 minutes. So it may just be a problem when the battery is very low. I'll have to do some more experiments on that. I have sent an email to support about these issues, but so far I've had no replies. And an update straight away. I tried this today with a brand new battery and got the same problem, so we'll have to wait and see what support say, if they do get back to me. I hope they do. If you'd like to subscribe, then as soon as I do hear from them, then I'll do an update so you can see whether it's a problem with this particular unit or whether it's actually a known problem. Please subscribe if you want to see other videos, press like and make any comments below.